All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie today. Rich, how we doing, man?
Hey Duke, doing good, man. Happy Wednesday, happy Hump Day. We're about 5 days away from kickoff.
Oh yeah, it is. Probably the most anticipated national championship of the college football playoff era. I would think. You got the Bama Georgia. I'll be interested to see what the TV number does on this game, but there was some stuff going on around the Ohio State program today. Caden Davis dismissed from the team.
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't know. I find it very interesting that happens right before the national championship, unless something happened. You know, Coach Day decided to make that decision. It's a very interesting one. I don't, he had a big following on social media, and
Yes, yeah, he did.
I think that sometimes you got to make tough decisions when you sit in that captain's chair. Um, it's one of those things that I don't think some people want to make that decision, and so it is a tough decision to make. Going forward. So that starts the news cycle off right away, and then getting into it. Uh, while we're live in the first 2 minutes here, if this is the first time you're watching this show, hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing. We are, cruising in fast. We're building a small community, and if you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. We got, we're gonna have plenty of people in the chat as this link gets populated. So be taking questions and all that fun stuff. But first segment here, Joe Klatt comes out today on 3, reported this, that Joe Klatt would like the Army-Navy game to kick off the season. What are your thoughts on that?
I dis I don't like that. You know, you can't break tradition with the Army Navy game because that game is more. There's a lot of prestige with that, a lot of tradition, a lot of honor, and between those two academies, service academies between Army and Navy. And after the regular season wraps up, you get your conference championship games, then that's the only football game, and all eyes should be on those guys, in my opinion, because after they're done playing, they have to go serve the country. And like, what better way after the college football season to give those guys our undying attention on the gridiron?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know if they should be moving that game around. I kind of like it at the end of the year. I feel like it should be like Sid says here. Uh, Army Navy is a late fall game. Yeah, it'd be like moving the Ohio State Michigan game. It's I don't feel like you should move something like that, in my opinion.
No, because the whole mystique, the whole pageantry with that game, it's a different feel versus the other rivalry games. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all tuned, like my wife and I and Quinn, we all watched it because it's just so meaningful to the country and everything. I just putting it in the beginning of the year, I think it's just a stupid ass idea. But hey, what do I know?
Could you see Ohio State Michigan playing in late August? Well, the way college football is heading, I don't know. Oh, what up? What up, Steve? What up, Steve?
Steve!
Today's Carter's birthday, Steve. Uh, I don't think that some games should be moved. Like the Red River rivalry, they play that at the Cotton Bowl, I believe, and it's always played at a specific time because there are no lights at the Cotton Bowl. Um, it's a very very odd, um, interesting interesting endeavor. We got and also producer Ed is here today on the ones and twos. He was out there eating cake with Carter. So if you see Carter around the Columbus area, wish him a happy 47th birthday.
47, man. I got a long way to go.
So, you know, what is Steve? We're smoking cigars together for his birthday. Hey, and also at Ike's Pub in Columbus, we are doing a live show this Saturday at 3 p.m. January 18th. So if you're in the Columbus area, I know we're hopping around here, but if you're in the Columbus area, come on out, say what's up. We'll be there. It has been a very, very good run this season. We've been having a good time. New person to the show. What's up, man? Yeah, Army Navy. Army Navy should be at the end of the year. I totally agree with that. We're gonna get into the national championship here pretty soon, but I'm trying to think of any other distinct games throughout the season, like moving the Iron Bowl. I don't think that is a good idea. I don't think on the college football side of things, I don't think we should be moving games per se that are at distinct times. That's just my opinion. Call me stick in the mud, call me old guy, but I don't want to see Ohio State, Michigan play in the second or third week of August. I don't want to see that.
No. That's what makes college football so great, because of the rivalries. The rivalries make college football. That's the last game of the year. You build your season towards that game, and moving it in the middle of the year, any rivalry game to me, is just a dumb, boneheaded idea. And Joe Klatt, I like Joe Klatt, but that's probably one of the most boneheaded ideas and sayings he's ever said. Moving Army Navy or any rivalry game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. It's just something something that I'm not a big fan of. Like, there are other rivalry games out there, like the Rocky Mountain Showdown, like Colorado State. That's played at a distinct times because they're not in the same conference. So that game's typically early in the season. And then you do have those rivalries like Nebraska used to be at the end of the year until Nebraska moved conferences until they went to the Big Ten. But Sid here, rivalries and tradition. Yeah, I agree with you on that statement. And then Greengrass here. Yeah, it's very interesting times. Yeah, that's a very, very interesting take there. But I think that where we're at here, I don't think that we should move those games. And what do you think of the fact that that could be on the table, moving the Ohio State Michigan game?
I think it's stupid. I mean, that's the game. That's the rivalry. That's the most greatest rivalry in all of sport, not college football, all of sport. And moving that, to let's say week 5, it's just it doesn't have the right feel,
Yeah, that's very. I just don't get that. So, I guess moving on to another interesting stat that I found on the internet was this is from college football news today. It says since 2017, 79 of the original signees from UGA have entered the NFL draft. 79 out of those 79, 57 were drafted, at a rate of 72%. Of 86 players who have transferred since 2017, 25 of those players have gone through the draft process. Of those 25, 7 were drafted at a rate of 28%. Thoughts on that?
It's a lot of numbers there, Duke. What was the percentage? It was 28% drafted.
Out of the 86 players who transferred from Georgia since 2017, I'm assuming since Kirby took over, 86 of them transferred. Only 25 86 players have transferred. 25 have gone through the draft process, and only 7 were drafted for a rate of 28%. So pretty much if you transfer from Georgia, your hit rate to go to the NFL is pretty much torpedoed.
Wow. That's development down there.
Yeah, I just I find that a very interesting.
That's a pretty wild stat, though, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I don't think that is a good thing. The whole transfer portal. I'm seeing talks. They had talked about that yesterday. It's going to be a 10-day window from January 2nd to the 12th, I guess, is what's on the table. So we'll see. Making the guys stay the calendar year is going to be very interesting. Be interested to see how that works. So there is another graphic that I found out there today, Rich, that is the way too early 2025 playoff prediction.
Oh man, let's throw it up there, Duke. Let's see it.
I don't have it in.
You don't have it? Oh.
I don't have it in. I was just skimming and I came across it here. But the 2025 way too early CFP projection from CFB Alerts is Ohio State 1, Texas 2, Clemson 3, UNLV 4. I find that very interesting.
With Dan Mullen.
Yeah, with Dan the Man Mullen. I don't know. I got to see what UNLV looks like after the Barry Odom leaving and all of the roster moves, because this could all change because we have another transfer portal window coming up in the springtime. So strap in and we'll see what's going on. So then it goes Oregon, Notre Dame, LSU, Penn State, Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Kansas State. So if all things holding, you'll have the group of 5. You'll have your SEC teams, and the Big 12 still only getting 1 team in. I think that's going to be the standard pretty much going forward for the Big 12.
Yep.
The SEC is going to get their couple. The Big 10 is going to get their couple. And then, of course, if Notre Dame wins out, Notre Dame will be pretty much a lock for the playoffs. Steve.
Hopefully they don't lose 3 games, Steve.
Yeah, that's the other thing that, now that we have a data in how this works, I think that, that's going to be the benchmark. It'll be interesting in whenever the SEC meets for the conference, because I heard whispers that Sankey was going to try to sell them another conference game, so the SEC would have 9 conference games. And I think the coaches, I don't think the coaches are thrilled by the format that Sankey agreed to. So I guess we'll see how this is going to.
Bama's got to get rid of scheduling Furman or the Citadel or VMI before they play Auburn before the Iron Bowl.
Right. Just need to look at Vegas odds. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't know. I think the team that jumps off the paper at me is I think LSU's got a puncher's chance to make it to the CFP just because they have Garrett Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier will be better next year. Um, Clemson has Klubnik returning. You're going to have the Arch Manning show. I think if they're the number 2 overall seed, that would be Texas winning the SEC. You have Georgia, of course. They're going to have a new quarterback, Carson Beck in Miami. I think um, if Miami does not make the playoffs, I think that seat is going to get hot again for Mario.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at 24/7 Sports. They have Ohio State playing Texas in the national, quote unquote, national title game for next year.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of pandering, and then we'll have another in-season um, rematch. Green grass here. Watch the SEC try to manipulate the playoff system in a couple of years to ensure to get more teams in. Well, the thing with the playoff system is I think it's going to be hard to manipulate because they have humans picking it, and I think one of the things that will hurt the 3 lost teams if you have one in the SEC. Um, it's gonna be that their non-cons are horrible. Like look at Ole Miss. They played Wake Forest, destroyed them. Played Furman, Middle Tennessee State. You gotta beef up that non-con, and then Kentucky went into Vaught Hemingway and beat them at home. So that's where we're at. But another team that sticks off the page is Michigan.
Yeah, let me see who they had playing Michigan playing. They had Michigan playing at Notre Dame as the 11th seed.
Oh boy. And then I find that very, very interesting. And then we got another graphic here. I want to pivot in. Red Hot CFB posted a graphic that has the top 10 coaches for 2025. I'll just go down the list and tell me when you disagree. Kirby Smart 1, Marcus Freeman 2, Ryan Day 3, Dan Landing 4, Kenny Dillingham 5, Kurt Signetti 6, Dabo Sweeney 7, Steve Sarkisian 8, James Franklin 9, Shane Beamer 10.
I don't disagree with that list.
I think
if Ryan Day wins the Natty, he should move up to 2 instead of 3.
yeah, you could flip flop Marcus and Ryan.
You put Ryan Day. No, scratch that. Fuck that. Put Ryan at 1, Marcus 2, then Kirby 3.
Very interesting. Green grass here. Whoa, Michigan has one tough game next year at Ohio State. The rest of the schedule looks pretty easy. Yeah, I haven't looked at Michigan's schedule per se. If you got your interwebs punched up there, Rich, I'll give you fill a little time while you can.
Let me get my football schedule website up.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see what would be so. But while you're getting that around, we'll take the time out to we're not going to pause for station identification, but we got the live show. Plug the live show at Ike's Pub in Columbus. We're going to be there. Live show starts at 3:00. We'll be there hanging out a little bit after. If you're in the Columbus area, come hang out. We'll be there, me, Richie, and Carter. We'll be there doing the live show. I think we're going to be over the loudspeakers as well. So if you go to Ike's Pub on Saturday, you're going to get the live show that you didn't know you wanted. But with that being said, if you're over there on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and help us grow this thing. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we're going to get it going here. So
that team up north, they open up with New Mexico.
Okay.
Week 2, Oklahoma,
Good.
September 6th.
Is it
Week
at?
3, it's
Is it?
at Oklahoma. It's at Norman. Central Michigan week 4, Nebraska week 5. They're off September 27th. Then they play the Badgers and Luke Fickell October 4th. They go out to USC on October 11th. The Huskies come to Ann Arbor October 18th. Michigan State the week after. Purdue All Saints Day on November 1st. They are off November 8th. Northwestern the 15th at Maryland, the 22nd. Ohio State at home November 29th.
So Michigan, realistically, before we get to the Ohio State Notre Dame stuff, but Michigan realistically could be undefeated going into the game next year.
They could be.
I don't know what Oklahoma's going to look like. They got to do quarterback. They are going to have a new coordinator from now until then. They got the guy from Washington State. I can't think of that coach's name, but he brought the quarterback with him. So Oklahoma's going to look drastically different on offense. I think Venables, their defense was good. I think Venables is going to be formidable on that side of the ball. I wouldn't be shocked if that game is 7-6, to be honest. But we'll see what Michigan returns. Is Bryce Underwood going to be playing? I would say all signs point to yes, because I think he may be their best best player on offense. Greengrass here. Oklahoma's going to be bad again, 8-4, but bad instead of 6-7. Yeah, I understand that. I think one of the big things that saved Venables down there at Norman was the win over Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. That's going to be a very interesting endeavor going forward. So that's what we got so far on that front. But we can get to the topic du jour. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson versus Jeremiah Love and Jadadeon Price. What are we thinking? Who do you think has the edge? Or is there an edge? Or is this a stalemate? Or both backfields?
I think all 4 tailbacks are tremendous tailbacks, each in their own right. You know, Trey can hit that big play for you. Q can ground and pound. Inside the tackles. Jadavion Price or Jordan Love. I'm sorry. Wait, who is it? Love.
Yeah,
Love. Love. He's another one that can get you a big play, a big chunk play. Against Indiana with that 98-yard TD run. I mean, that was a thing of beauty. And Faison as well. I mean, I cannot. It's a straight stalemate. All 4 of those 4 tailbacks they're the best of the best right now.
The one thing that I find very interesting in this matchup is that on the Notre Dame side of the things, Riley Leonard is a bigger factor in the run game than what Will Howard is. Ohio State has been airing it out as of late. There's been a lot of talk of, are they going to play man for Notre Dame on the defensive side of ball, on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be interesting. I think, you're going to have the first couple series of the feeling out what works, what doesn't. And I think that, tendencies and percentages may go out the window here. And I think what did Gwen Stefani say? It's bananas. Twitter is bonanzas. I know I talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Just between both fan bases, I'm kind of out on it. I mean, I find it very, very interesting.
Exhausting ad nauseum.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be interested to see how many carries Jeremiah Love gets in this game, opposed to how many carries Riley Leonard gets. And I think, Riley Leonard is going to have that escapability. Um, we've talked about, me and Carter have at the beginning of the year. We had to talk about a ton of things that were pertaining to the the Riley Leonard throwing of the football. I think that is something has that has been the Achilles heel, and Notre Dame has leaned heavy on the run game. That's no knock on Notre Dame. They've just done what has been um, expected of them. It's a and I find the expectation here that you have for Q and Trey. Can they get something established on the ground? Camera. Sorry about that, but can they get something established on the ground on either side? Because it doesn't look like either side's going to be able to run the ball at all.
No, and that, with Ohio State's defense, they're going to force Riley Leonard to throw. And if he can't throw, I mean, it'll be a long day for Notre Dame.
I think the biggest part of this is who's going to be able to protect the passer the best. Notre Dame has dealt with nothing but devastation of the offensive line. I'll be interested to see who comes out for the starting offense if they make any changes. And Jeremiah Love is a 1,000-yard back, 17 touchdowns this year. Riley Leonard, 167 carries for 866 yards. Price, 117 carries for 733 yards. And whatever Greengrass is talking about here, 7 of them coming on the last second. Yeah. So I think the offensive lines are going to play probably the biggest factor in this game. Who can protect, who can run block, who can. I think Notre Dame's best plan of attack is to try to get out on the edge and force Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom into the box and then try to air it out.
Right. But, if that happens, you're going to have Jordan Hancock playing deep, though.
Or will they put Caleb Downs deep and, have a mix mash of what we're going to do? Because outside of the Michigan game in Oregon on the road, I think you can pretty much scrap that defensive performance. I'll be interested to see when it comes, running backs. We've came to the establishment that, everything's pretty equal outside of Riley Leonard having 167 carries for a quarterback. But I
16 touchdowns too, Duke.
Yeah, I think that, once you can get him going, I think if you can get Riley Leonard going, Notre Dame's going to be hard to stop. I mean, if you take a snapshot of this and go back to circa 2007, this is Trestle ball reincarnated to the certain umpteenth degree. They have
Riley Leonard kind of reminds me of Craig Krenzel.
Except extremely more athletic.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the odds makers and the quote unquote pundits, pretty much counting Notre Dame out. 9.5 points is a lot of points.
Yeah.
Some of that money has came back on the Notre Dame side of the things on the spread, but 80% of the money line money is on Ohio State, and it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. The last time Ohio State was a big favorite, the championship game was, 2007 against Georgia, and Florida, and we
We
Seeing
saw
how,
we saw that movie how it played out, right?
yeah, and I think going down the stretch here, Travion Henderson 132 carries for 967 yards, 10 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins 183 carries for 960 yards and 12 touchdowns. So
The Fiesta Bowl was Ohio State. Was it plus minus 12? And they ended up winning 31-24 in double OT.
yeah, something to that effect, I believe. So I think where we're going here, it's gonna it's gonna be I think it's gonna be an epic slugfest in the trenches. I think Notre Dame's gonna try to do their best to take away Jeremiah Smith. Um, it's gonna be a very very interesting game on how it's called offensively and defensively. I mean, it's Jim Knowles, Chip Kelly going up against and Al Golden and Mike Denbrock, and I find this, there's over probably 100 years of coaching experience on between the both sidelines, and Marcus and Ryan Day being, some of the two head coaches with the least amount of experience, but it's, and I'm not knocking those guys; they're just younger guys. So I think I'm not shocked that the two teams that made it to the national championship have two of the most veteran staffs. Well, the two coordinators, the top four coordinators in the country with some of the most experience out there. Do you have NFL experience, in the Chip Kelly side of things? Ryan Day spent time in the NFL. Marcus played in the NFL. And I think, you got a little bit on the younger side. You got Joe Rudolph, who was a graduate assistant at Ohio State, worked under Tressel, went off and did a couple of different things and is at Notre Dame now. So this is where we leave it. I think this is one of the most epic national championships we've seen since Texas. Texas, uh, you can go back to taking the SEC out of it before they just won every year, in the Saban Bama years. But what say you, Rich?
I mean, there's nothing I disagree with you on. I never thought in a million years we'd see Ohio State, Notre Dame playing for all the marbles. This is something every college football fan dreams of. Two iconic programs going toe to toe for 60 minutes. Leaving it all out there, all that hard work in the off season, the two-a-days, the grind through the season, the playoffs, and it all culminating on Monday night when the toe hits that 4-panel leather. There's a lot of people that I know. There's houses divided, Duke, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. There's some people. There's my uncle's going to the game. One of my mother-in-law's friends, she's going down to the game. Her husband's a Notre Dame fan, but he also likes Ohio State, but he's born Notre Dame. It's just an interesting time to be a part of and witnessing it in college football. What about you, Dookie? Because you're in Indiana. What's the feel like out there?
I've never seen so much Notre Dame stuff come out of the closets. I'm not gonna lie. I live in Northeast.
That's hilarious.
I live in Northeast Indiana. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't shit you on this one. There's a lot of things that factor into this. I think, with all things being real here, Notre Dame they can bang the drum for the whole conference thing. I find it very interesting, but Notre Dame has the opportunity to to go 7-0 against the Big Ten and the SEC combined. Why do they need to join a conference? Is my argument why?
I mean, that's a great argument. Why? When they go undefeated against the two top conferences in college football.
Because
Why should they have to?
with all things being real, Ohio State's the pseudo Big Ten champ. They destroyed Oregon. If Notre Dame beats Oregon or Notre Dame beats Ohio State, it would be pretty much they beat 3 out of the 4 of the best teams in the Big Ten by beating Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana. And then
that's something to be said for Marcus for doing that.
Exactly, and then we beat the SEC champs in the Sugar Bowl, beat Texas A&M in week 1. I've not been somewhere to where the only thing I've heard them talk about all week is the loss to Northern Illinois, the loss. And I mean, I get it. They did lose the NIU at home, but they just beat the champs of the SEC. Why does Notre Dame need to join a conference? I'm wanting to know why that needs to happen, because Notre Dame is cleaning up in the playoffs, and nobody said anything about the Pac-2 teams getting that $25 million for the Rose Bowl because they still have the bowl tie-in.
Yeah, why is everybody else not bitching about that?
Exactly.
I think it's just because it's just Notre Dame,
and
they're they don't have to have that sharing with the conference. It's all going to them. I think people are pissed off about that, but you know what? Screw it. Like, who cares? They beat everybody in front of them. What's it matter?
Yeah, I think that it's very interesting that the way this story has been wrote, for both teams. And I'm not just saying this is out of the Notre Dame and the Ohio State. I'm more of in the middle between you and Carter on this, and I feel like you could talk me into Notre Dame winning this game, but you could also talk me into Ohio State blowing them out. I don't think any of those things are out of the realm of possibility. I feel like if Notre Dame can keep them under 24 points, that is their best option to win.
I don't disagree with that. I don't think Ohio State is gonna blow them out. If they blow them out, I was wrong. But I don't think it. To me, it has that 2003 Fiesta Bowl feel, where Ohio State's that high-powered offense, they have all the talent, and Notre Dame is Ohio State. They have maybe a middle-of-the-road quarterback in Riley Leonard, but it's going to come down to, can Riley Leonard put the team on his shoulders when they need him the most?
Greengrass here chimes in. Can we talk you into Indy blowing out Ohio State? I mean, anything's possible. I'm not saying it's a complete cinch that Ohio State wins this game in overmatched fashion, if that makes any sense. Or I mean Notre Dame, where Notre Dame beats them. I misspoke there, but where Notre Dame beats them by 17 points or something crazy like that, unless they have an all-out epic collapse in defense or on defense, because the match predictors only got Ohio State as a 55% winner. That's not that high, but the number has came down. It's down to 8. So, I mean, that tells me it opened at 9.5 and it moved a whole 1.5 in a couple of days. The over/under is 45.5.
I don't think it's gonna be a shootout. I think it's gonna be a one touchdown game, 24-17. 24-17 Ohio State, 24-17 Notre Dame over Ohio State. That's the number I'm seeing, Duke.
Could you see a 27-24?
Yes, because Notre Dame does have a great kicker.
Um, yeah, the Jeter aspect of this, when he got hurt throughout the year, Mitch Jeter was shaky. Notre Dame's one of the worst kicking teams in the country. Um, but with all things being real, you go back to the Michigan game, Jaden Fielding. I hate to pour on the kid, but it's one of those things that
He left 6 points on the board.
you left 6 points on the board in a big game, but uh, green grass here right before we reset the show. True in the low 20s is more likely. That's what I think it'll be. But with that being said, we got Ike's Pub this Saturday, 3:00. Me, Carter, Richie gonna be there. Um, Go ahead and pull up if you ain't got nothing else to do. Stop in, say hi. We're gonna be there for a little bit. We'll probably tweet out whenever we take off. So follow us on Twitter. You can follow me, Richie, and Carter. All of our handles are there. Links in the bio. Who knows if we're gonna be on TikTok? Who knows if anybody's gonna be on TikTok? So that is coming. We got that going on. Also, follow the show if you're watching on Twitter. Come on over, turn on those bell notifications, hit that like and subscribe button, and help us blow this thing up. That is our main goal going into the national championship. We're going to have a ton of content probably on the day of the Natty. So who knows how late we'll have the channel cranked up that night. It's going to be a epic night. It's going to be one of the greatest nights in the show history. That's for sure. Because when we started this thing, we didn't, we knew Notre Dame had to make the playoffs, and it was one of those things that this team has exceeded expectations. We have been critical, but some of the things that we were critical about we were spot on and right about. Leading into this last segment. It's a very, very interesting topic here. I wanted to talk about, Ohio State has the great skill on the perimeter, but on the Notre Dame side of things, I think Bo Collins, if this is the time for you to show up, if you're Bo Collins, this is the time. Great house, Bo Collins, Mitchell Evans, a tight end. I think Notre Dame has a head and shoulders advantage against the tight end, head to head with the tight ends. Kakabarak, I don't think is going to be an NFL guy. You can see Ohio State has already dipped into the
Whoa!
portal.
Look who just popped in. It's the birthday boy himself.
Yeah, happy
What's up,
47th.
boys?
Happy 47th birthday,
Happy what?
Carter.
Get the fuck out
Did
of
you do
here.
your eye test for your driver's license today? Did you fail?
No. My eyes are good to go. My eyes are good to go. I'm 35 years young, bitches.
There you go, man. There you go.
So,
but what's up? How's it going?
we're just diving into the last segment here of the show.
Yeah.
We were just diving into the for Bo Collins, this is now or never, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think he's got to. He's shown flashes all year. He's made big plays at times. He hasn't been as good as advertised. He hasn't made consistent plays as much as you'd like to see. But absolutely, this is the biggest game of the year. This is his biggest game of his career. This is what he came to Notre Dame to do, is to go out and make big plays in big games. And that's why he's here. He had obviously the big catch against Georgia for the touchdown, but other than that, has been pretty quiet all playoffs. So, if he's going to make an impact, now's got to be the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I feel like we need to have more of a constructive effort on the outside. I feel like if Riley Leonard can master the back shoulder against Denzel Burke, they might have some success at doing that, and that should free up the run game. Because I feel like Knowles is going to completely come in and stack the box, and they're going to spy Riley Leonard. And if they come out and they start slinging it, it'll back those guys off, and it'll give Jeremiah Love and Jadadeon Price and Riley Leonard opportunities in the run game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think when you look at it, what Notre Dame did well at times in the past game was utilizing Mitchell Evans against Penn State and utilizing him in the deep game with back shoulders, utilizing him in the middle of the field. And I think that's the one place where you might have a little bit of an advantage over Ohio State right now is Mitchell Evans is a legit tight end, and he's a matchup nightmare for whoever you put on him. He's big. So if you put Caleb Downs on him, it's a tough matchup. Not saying Caleb Downs can't play him because Caleb Downs can. But if you put Cody Simon on him, he's not slow and he's athletic. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him as well. It reminds me a lot of the matchup that Ohio State had against Tyler Warren at Penn State. And Ohio State did a pretty good job against him, honestly. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Mitchell Evans is somebody to watch. And I think that's where, especially with those back shoulder throws, and if you get some crazy scheme things like when they had Tyleik Williams guarding a halfback on a wheel route or something like that, you can get some big plays that way.
Do you think that, well, I wouldn't say do you, but are you shocked at this, that both teams that have made it to the CFP final have some of the most experienced coordinators / play callers in the playoffs?
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think especially with the way college football is going, with it becoming more of a professionalized game, I think having experience at the higher up positions on your staff, like coordinator, is going to be paramount to success. It's going to be a lot harder to win in sustained long seasons with younger guys that are new, like a Brian Hartline if he was the OC.
Yeah, I think that coming into this has been a big, I wouldn't say for some parts of the country, I think that there's a ton of people rooting for Notre Dame to win this game. Ohio State has, I find it very interesting that, the way this is played out. And Thamel had Signetti on the other day about how to attack Ohio State. I'm pretty sure that Signetti is probably got a little gonna have green on Monday. I would not be shocked.
I don't know, man. That's tough. You're rooting against your own conference. I mean, I know you lost how about that? The only two teams to beat Indiana this year are playing for the national title.
See, this is something that
is Indiana good?
Exactly. That's been the question.
Sid, God damn it, you guys starting 47. Yeah, shoot me in the face.
So that's something that we had brought up was, I think Signetti at Indiana, they were good. I mean,
they obviously were. I think they were a good team. They competed with both teams, honestly. I mean, I think Notre Dame kind of blew them for the most part. They got garbage points to make it look closer than it was. But the first half was competitive. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a terrible blowout, like a 34-0 in the first quarter Oregon-Ohio State blowout. And they kept it close with Ohio State for some of the game as well. So I think Indiana was a fine team. I think that they were one of the 12 best teams in college football? I don't know. Probably.
Does your opinion of Indiana change that Rourke played the second half of the season with a torn ACL?
Not really. I don't think. I don't think quarterback. I don't think he could have been much better if he was healthy. I thought he was pretty good already. So I don't see how much better he could have been. Like he wasn't ever going to be a dynamic playmaker with the ball in his hands, run around type of guy. He might have been a little more accurate, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how he did it, first of all, but I don't think it changed much for their offense, to be honest with you. So no, I think they're still the same team I thought they were, which is a solid team. So I don't think so, but they had trouble shutting down Notre Dame's run game, which is obviously something that a lot of teams had trouble with. And ultimately, I mean, they had trouble shutting down Ohio State's run game too. And I think they just had a defense that wasn't as good as people thought it was, and got exposed by the two good teams that played all year.
Yeah, I think going into this, and we'll wrap up at the 1 hour mark. I think that some of the people that come into this game, I think that are going to say Ohio State's going to beat them 50-0. I think they're going to be disappointed. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's a little outlandish. Saying it's gonna be 50-0.
I they I think Notre Dame, if they stay on schedule with down and distance, I think Notre Dame will be able to score. I'm not saying it's going to be at a high clip, but I think that if they can get some momentum on a drive going, and I think penalties is going to be the big one in this game.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said last night, Duke. Like I'm more concerned about the penalties on Ohio State's end. How it was against Texas. They can't play as individuals. With Trey getting that personal foul after getting the whatever was said to him by that Texas player. Like just don't play into that shit. Move on to the next. That play's over with. On to the next play.
Yeah, I believe that there was some speculation that the kid gave him a knee while he was on the ground or something after the play, and he got up and smacked him. I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or unjust, but 9 times out of 10 they catch the retaliator.
The second guy always get the second guy.
They always get the second guy. The second guy is their man, the elusive other people or them. I think that we're heading towards an epic showdown here, as far as that goes. But I think turnovers and penalties, whoever wins that battle wins this game. And when it comes to it, if Ohio State blows them out, I'll eat crow on that one. But I'm just saying, I just don't see a world to where everybody thinks that at some point in the playoffs, the public's going to be wrong with betting at some point. And I mean, looking at what Ohio State's done offensively, did they look good against Oregon and Tennessee? Yes. Did they look the greatest against Texas? I thought they struggled a little bit. I thought Will Howard made some key plays. Can Notre Dame limit the Will Howard thing? I just feel like this is most likely for a lot of guys at Notre Dame, this is their last football game. For somebody like Riley Leonard, this is his probably going to be his last football game as a starting quarterback. So I think that Riley Leonard lets it all hang out and give it everything you got because it's another opportunity to show, and this is the last opportunity to put an exclamation point on it and why you came to Notre Dame. And also, Riley Leonard wins this game, he'll probably get a statue in South Bend. I'm just over-exaggerating, of course, but his cachet for the last 30 years of Notre Dame, he'll be number one. We've been critical of him about throwing the football. He's got to show up and prove us wrong and be able to do that in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think we've talked about it each week as we progress through the playoffs. We've said each week more and more important that he makes plays through the throw game, right? I mean, first week I thought they had a good chance to beat Indiana, and they did pretty handily. Second week against Georgia, I said he's going to have to make a couple plays, and he did. He made a couple plays. Penn State, I said, they have the best rush defense this team face. And now, guess what? Ohio State has the best rush defense that this team will face. So, again, Riley Leonard's going to have to make plays in the throw game. He's done it when asked or when needed to. So far the playoffs, he hasn't been great at it, but he's done the bare minimum. He's done what's necessary to win, right? And so I think he's going to have to do that again, maybe even make a couple throws that you go, oh, wow, where was that all year?
Yeah.
Right? And if he can do that, Notre Dame's got as good a chance as anybody against Ohio State. And I think when you really look at it, I don't know if you guys talked much about the running backs yet, but I think that's where you're going to find some real who's able to run the ball when there's no room to run the ball, because both these defenses are going to shut down the run. Like it's going to happen. And obviously, I think Ohio State's going to be a lot quicker to go to the pass game because that's what they do anyways. And so who's going to be able to run the ball when there really is nowhere to run the ball? And I think I'm not going to compare the duos. I'm not going to say that Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price are anywhere near as good as Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. I think if you had to make me pick one running back of the four right now, the way he's playing, the way if he's healthy, give me Jeremiah Love all day. He's got the breakaway speed, and I just, you look at that run against Penn State, that is pure just will and determination. He wasn't getting stopped on that play. And I'm not saying that Travion Henderson and Quinshon don't have that same capability. I just haven't seen it, and maybe it's because I haven't had to, because they've had better blocking and all that. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Jeremiah Love is playing like a man possessed, and he was, let's say, 70% of himself last week. If he's 90% of himself this week, I like it. I like him to be the one to make something out of nothing more often than not.
Go ahead, Rich, and give your final thoughts.
It's going to come down to Ohio State's offensive line. See if they can get the push on Notre Dame's defense, because it's been battered. It's been battered just like Notre Dame's offensive line. They've had it's a makeshift offensive line the last couple of weeks. Can they force their will on Notre Dame's front seven? Can they spring Q and Trey into open space? Can they effectively run inside the tackles in between the A gap, B gap? That's also gonna be another factor for Ohio State against Notre Dame with the two tailbacks. That's where I'm at with the running backs. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, my final thoughts on it is I think both groups are equal. I think the X factor in the run game is going to be Riley Leonard. If they can get him going, so goes Love and Price. You get Riley Leonard going, you're going to have to pay the price of Love. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup as far as on the ground wise. I would not be shocked if Notre Dame kind of outgains them. I think this is going to be the Ohio State-Michigan game. Whoever wins the battle on the ground is going to win this game. I think from a physicality standpoint, we're going to find out. Ohio State's defense is very physical. Notre Dame's defense is very physical, and I think whoever flinches first is going to be the loser in this. I think this is going to be low 20s. 24-17 is a popular score. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 27-24. I think you're going to have to use the full 60 minutes to determine the winner on this. So that's just where I'm at.
Maybe a little Mitch Jeter walk-off, a little Mr. January.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I think it could come down to Fielding or Mitch Jeter on this. It would not shock me whatsoever. I feel like that, the two teams that have made it this far, they've made it here for a reason. People are calling the Ohio State team a team of destiny and the Ohio versus the world. If you want to keep on that mantra, but, Notre Dame, outside of the Indiana game, has been underdogs, except it flipped at the last minute against Penn State. I don't think a lot of people gave them a chance against Penn State. So we'll have to see. And I just can't wait until we kick this thing off to see what we've been up to. So
I'm with you.
But with that being said, Rich, Carter, you guys got anything else to add?
I got nothing.
No, I mean, the only thing I'll add is make sure you like and subscribe. Go out there. But also, this Saturday, I promise you, it's going to be big. I've been talking to people that are coming. I need anybody that knows anybody in or around Columbus that is a Notre Dame fan. I don't care what you got to do. You got to get them there. Because right now, I know so many Ohio State fans that are going to be in attendance, and we got to at least show out a little bit as Notre Dame fans. I can't be the only one there. It's going to be rough, but I'll stand in the paint and take it. Don't worry. But it's going to be fun. So come out. We'll have that. We're going to do our full breakdown. We're going to talk a lot about the game. We're going to get some crowd interactions, things like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So just come out. Ike's Pub, Saturday, 3 p.m. All the information's on our social medias. We'll post it again probably tonight and again Friday and maybe even Saturday morning. We'll keep posting it so you don't miss it. But it's out there on 346 Hubbard Road in Columbus, right south of Hilliard, so out west side Columbus. It's going to be a blast. So come out, wear your blue and gold or green. I don't care. Let's try to have it at least a little speckled with blue and gold, and so it's not just red everywhere.
Yeah. So with that being said, appreciate everybody tuning in. If you see Carter, wish him a happy birthday in the Columbus area. We're getting closer, boys. We are getting closer. This is the who would have thought we would have been in mid-January talking Notre Dame football.
Gotta love it.
Yes. So, and let's close this thing out with a bang. Everybody have a good night. And Notre Dame is the SEC champs. Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.